This is Dan and Lexi from Dan Schultz Outdoors, reminding you, keep the adventures alive. Hey y'all, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Colleen. And we're the Keel Quest. And we want you to keep the adventures alive. Cheers!
Hey, this is Darren from Ride Paddle Repeat, encouraging you to keep the adventures alive.
This is David from Beachley Ironworks saying keep the adventures alive.
Hey, Kevin with an A here. Keep the adventure alive.
Hi, I'm Dan Mayotte. Keep the adventures alive.
Hi, I'm Kevin Collin, the Happy Camper. Remember, keep the adventures alive. Awesome!
Woo, buddy! Shug here! Keep the adventures alive. I am.
Ethan here, the Avid Outdoorsy guy, reminding you to keep the adventures alive.
We're John and Aaron.
Keep the adventures alive.
Hey everyone, it's Kylan from Lure of the North, and I encourage you to keep the adventures alive.
This is Sky North telling you, keep the adventures alive. And now on with the show.
Hey, well, hello and happy Tuesday evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of CanoeHound'S Outdoor Adventure Show, a show that brings you a lot closer to the great outdoors. I'm your host, Dennis, also known as CanoeHound, and if you are new to this live stream, thanks very much for spending a Tuesday evening with us. We're going to have a great show tonight. We got a couple of great guests on, and we're going to be talking a little bit about a TV series on Fibe TV called Get Outside, a paddling adventure that has been produced by Ben Stacey. He and Sean Rowley from Paddling Adventures Radio embarked on a really cool adventure that I think it was last summer there, and shot a great series of episodes that are available for viewing right now on Fibe TV. So stick around for that. We're going to be having a good night with that. While we're waiting for the chat over there to populate and get a lot of our CanoeHound adventures into the show here tonight, just going to go over a little bit of news and updates so that you're in tune with what's going on, and then we will get on with the show as far as our guests are concerned. To start with, last week, man, oh man, we had some real internet gremlins, we'll call them. We had an outage here in our area through our internet service provider, which had me popping in and out of the show, and it was a really tough show to navigate for sure. But thanks to my guest last week, Camper Christina, who was on the show to talk about her new backcountry paddling or backcountry camping for beginners, a course that she's put together. Christina was an awesome guest, and she really held it together. I was actually thinking about pulling the plug on the show and maybe rerunning or doing another episode with her maybe this week or the following week. But Christina said, no, the show's got to go on. And with me with a little bit of a smiley face, tried to keep things going. So Christina, if you happen to be on air, if you happen to be watching afterwards, thanks very much. You did a fantastic job at holding the ship and I'll tell you, greatly appreciated. And also thanks to Brian J, who actually joined her for a while. He's somebody that took her course, and he wanted to talk about it, what he actually learned from it, being an experienced paddler, and he helped her keep the ship afloat. So thanks, guys. Greatly appreciated. You know what? It's great to see that people really want to put in and take care of things and keep the show going along. So that's very, very good. Awesome. Thank you very much. Just want to say that new on Canoehound Adventures website, we just launched a little shopping page on there. If anybody's looking to pick up any cool swag, we have some hats, we have our stickers, our patches, we also have t-shirts and stuff like that. You can check it out. I pinned at the top of the chat over there. You'll see Canoehound Adventures swag. If anybody might be interested at any time during the show or later on, you could just click on that, and you'll be able to help support the channel by getting yourself some really cool swag. And like I say, it helps support the channel and keeps the wheels turning here, because all this stuff that goes on here, streaming software and stuff like that, all costs money. It all takes time. And I'm not begging for money by all means. I enjoy bringing this to you, but there are costs incurred with this. So it's always great to have a little bit of support there. Just want to do a quick shout out to all my Solo Tripper channel members, as I do every week. Sty North, Kevin with an A, and Jeremy Walla. Thanks very much for your support, guys. And to all my channel members, like I say, it all goes a long way towards helping the channel grow. And it's greatly appreciated that you would actually support the channel. And believe me, it makes me feel warm inside. So that's all a good thing. For anybody that might be interested in becoming a channel member, we have 3 different levels. You'll see a join button right down around here somewhere on the YouTube feed. It's not showing on Facebook, but it is on the YouTube feed. If you're looking to maybe become a channel member, you get things like custom emojis. Maybe some of our channel members can actually click on some of them custom emojis to show everybody what's available, little camping things and stuff like that. So it's really cool. We get behind the scenes videos from time to time. We have member-only live streams, and there's a bunch of different perks that you get with different channel levels. So if you're interested, feel free to hit that join button. You'll get more details on that. Yeah, that's all listed down there. Just want a really quick special shout out to all of my channel supporters. I'd like to get this out before the show, like I say, to give everybody a chance to get in. But just to say thanks so that everybody's aware of who my channel sponsors are, or my show sponsors. First of all, we got our good friends over at the Backcountry Coffee Company. Thanks very much. Always a good cup of coffee from them. We've got Kid Products, makers of the Kid Twig Stove, Algonquin Outfitters. We've got Ursac USA, and we've also got the Short Hills Beard Company. These are all great supporters. Thanks very much for your support. And I forgot my own company, of course, Great Signs and Graphics, which provides us with all kinds of swag that we like to give away here on the show. 2 more things before we get on with our guests. Once again, if you have any hot topics or personalities that you'd like to see on the show, drop me an email over at canoehound@gmail.com, and I will do my darndest to make it happen. You know what? I'm always on the phone with different people or by email or messenger or something like that, trying to bring you the best content that I can. So keep the ideas coming in. You can also contact me through our website at canoehoundadventures.com. We got a form on there. You could contact me on there for anything. Okay, so if I'm around, you will get a reply. I promise you that. And then last but not least, if you have any questions for tonight's guests, feel free to ask in the chat over there, okay? Just please put question in capital letters, and I will try to get to them. If not, after the 8 o'clock hour when we do our swag giveaway, we will be opening up the panel once again so that we can get a few of you up on panel to ask any questions, join in on the chat, and have some fun. That's what this is all about tonight. Anyways, here we are. I'm going to get right on now with our guests and our topic. Tonight we're joined by 2 popular outdoor personalities who last summer embarked on an epic 7-day, 386-kilometer journey on the Trent Severn waterway system. Traveling from the start of the Trent to Port Severn in 7 days, they experienced numerous lift locks, changing weather conditions, and many trip-altering decisions, all while recording the journey to produce the Bell Fibe TV1 series, Get Outside, a Paddling Adventure. Please welcome to the live stream from the YouTube channel 2 Men and a Canoe. We have Ben Stacey. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Yeah, and from the very popular canoeing podcast called Paddling Adventures Radio, we have Sean Rowley. How you doing, Sean?
Not too bad. How you guys doing?
Excellent.
We're here, man. We're here. Rather be out on the water myself.
Oh, yes.
Yes, of course. So, boys, let's get everybody to learn a little bit more about you first, and then we'll get into the whole Get Outside series, which is an exciting thing. Ben, tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel.
Well, let's see. I have been, I guess basically, I'm a filmmaker. I've been interested in doing film since I was a kid. So went to school for film, been doing film, corporate videos and so on. But I'm also an outdoors person. I've been backcountry camping for over 30 years. And at some point I realized, you know what? I can combine my two passions into one, and started filming almost all of my trips. There's very few trips that I don't film. I think I can count in one hand in the last like 5 or 6 years how many I didn't film. But yeah, and created 2 Men in a Canoe, the YouTube channel. It started with me and my buddy Tim. That was the 2 Men and 2 Men in a Canoe. But of course, it's evolved to more than that now. But yeah, and then went on to do Get Outside and meet some cool people along the way, like Sean and you and all sorts of people. So.
That's cool. I haven't seen much of Tim lately. What's going on there?
Well, we haven't been allowed to camp.
True. Yeah.
Actually, we did my last camping trip, which would have been that brief period of time when they actually allowed us to camp winter. Like it was end of March or something like that. Yeah, we had one trip, and he was there for one of the days. Our schedules didn't match up, but yeah, that's the last trip I was with Tim. So yeah.
Wow. And you, Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself in Paddling Adventures Radio.
I lived my dad was military, so we lived all across the country, up north a lot, Moosonee, North Bay, stuff like that, Cold Lake, Alberta. So we always were outdoors. And then when I, got my career going and, we got married, got a house and all that, I got into the canoe tripping a lot more. And started meeting up with a whole bunch of people, and one thing led to another, and doing a lot of stuff through Algonquin, and ended up with Algonquin, a couple of Algonquin groups to help, the backcountry recreationalists and stuff like that. And one thing led to another, and next thing I know, I'm being asked by Reno Viola. Everybody knows him from the fishing shows, right?
Uh-huh.
If I wanted to do a show on his online radio station, and it would involve paddling. Well, originally he wanted canoeing, but I figured, we got to include more than that, because there's more than just canoeists out there on the water. And I guess at one point, we must have been 50 some odd shows in, and he says, this just isn't going the way he thought, and put the kibosh on it. And we figured, well, you know what? That opens up a whole bunch of new avenues for us, because there were so many rules with the online radio show, and you're limited to what you can do and who you can talk to and all that sort of stuff, that we just turned it into a podcast and went from there, and just meeting the people that are out there, and canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddle boards and rafting and everything. And like Ben says, meeting interesting people that are into it as well. And now 5+ years later and 270 episodes, we're still enjoying doing it.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, that's quite a long stay for this whole podcast, eh?
I just do it for the beer.
I know you do. I know. How is it that you and Derek always say, you're never getting rich doing what you're doing, or something like that?
Yeah, you know what? Kevin Callan said to us one day, if you're getting into this to make money, then you might as well stop now.
Oh, all right.
Come on, later, guys. That's the end of the show for tonight, everybody.
So, you know what? And that's sort of stuck. That, we're not in this to make, I'm happy to make enough money to cover my costs. This is a hobby for us. This is fun for us. And as you say, there are costs involved with gear and subscriptions to different things and whatnot. So that all comes out of our pocket. But you know what? To meet all the people and be able to talk about all these things and be asked to come and speak at different events and meet people, like that you wouldn't normally meet. Like we're going across the border into the United States to do some of these big things and being asked to speak and whatnot. And it's like, I would have never met these people and learned all these extra little things and seen all this stuff. But yeah, you know what? Like we're not in this to make money. We're in this to have some fun and give us an excuse to keep getting out there paddling. So, when my wife, we got to mow the lawn and cut the trees. Oh, I got a paddling event. I'm sorry, I can't help you with the garden.
Yeah. The amazing thing about that is that you're in so far, like so many episodes and so many years in, and you still manage to come up with content every week. That's a pretty amazing feat, because doing something that is kind of similar to what you do on a weekly basis, it's sometimes hard to come up with the content that that is available out there. And it's kind of nice that you do focus on many different facets of the paddling community. So keep up the great work, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Ben, I have to ask, how did you come up with this concept of traveling to Trent? Most people, in most people's minds, they might say, like, this is a different kind of trip. People think canoe trip, let's go north. And you thought of the Trent Severn waterway system. How did that come about?
Well, we had done 2 seasons of the show Get Outside. And obviously I'm 2 minute canoe. I mean, I'm experienced. I backcountry paddle in Algonquin, Kawartha Highlands, all over the place. But in our second season of Get Outside, we were trying to find, because we were doing sort of individual episodes about interesting outdoor activities, and we had done a backcountry camping episode, so I can't do another one of those. Looking for something else. And on all my trips up north, I drive up Highway 12 and then up 169, 11 towards Algonquin. But going up Highway 12 just past Beaverton, you cross over the Trent Severn waterway. The last canal, the last lock is just beside the bridge before Lake Simcoe. And I'd seen it like every time I go up, and I thought, I wonder if you could paddle through there. That'd be kind of cool. So we did do, for one episode, we paddled those last 4 locks from, where did we put in it? Thorough, I believe. And then paddled out to Lake Simcoe for one episode. Just a nice afternoon paddle. And then I thought, what, that was really cool. Like I was really impressed with that. And when I was looking at doing another season, I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a whole journey, kind of a road trip on water. I don't know if anybody's seen the show The Long Way Around with Ewan McGregor and his buddy Charlie Boorman, where they ride motorcycles all the way around the world. Then they did another one where they started at the top of Scotland all the way down to bottom of South Africa. Anyway, that show always impressed me, and I thought, we're not going to do it as big a scale, but it is that road trip on water where we're going along this journey and just taking people along with us. So, yeah, and then we just started planning it, and once we got the go ahead to do it, yeah, cool.
So Sean, when Ben first approached you, how did that come about that you became part of this? Like, did he approach you and you kind of said, like, what?
I lost a bet. No, you know what? Ben said he's looking at doing this thing, and because I've been on his other seasons there, and he said, I'm looking at doing this. Like, would you be interested in something like that? And it's like automatically, because I've thought about doing the whole Trent Severn or up to Ottawa, the canal systems. And I thought, what, that'd be pretty cool to do it. And if I could swing it with the time off and everything, then definitely I'm in like Flynn, man. And then, with everything that happened, I'm working from home and everything. It's, and I mean, even still with internet and whatnot, I can still do stuff from the side of the canals if I had to. So
we did.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're not far of a reach.
We did one of your podcasts.
Yeah, we did one of the podcasts from the from the one of the canals or one of the locks.
Which episode was that? Let's plug it.
Was it?
No, I can't remember now.
It would have been back in August of last year.
It's back in August of last year.
If Derek's in the chat, maybe Derek can post it, and we'll get it up there, get it a plug so everybody can listen to it, right?
Well, if you go to paddlingadventuresradio.com and you go to the episode page, all our 270 episodes are there. So you can read which one it is as well.
Okay, that's too much plugging right there.
Listen to every single one of them. How long did that take?
Yeah,
Sorry.
270 times hours times yeah. So 17 days later.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
No, once he said that, what he wanted to do is like, yeah, I was on board immediately. I just had to get the appropriate permissions from the powers that be and make sure I wasn't, missing out on something that I'd previously booked. And yeah, we were off to the races.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just so you know, Sean, your good buddy Alan there is going to be poking a lot of fun at you tonight, I think.
Oh, Kevin Callan's already doing it. It's funny because you look at the chats on the side going on here. So if you see me keep doing this,
yeah.
Because there's
Alan and I had a little chat before the show.
Yeah.
So, you see me with a big smile, smirk, and laughing. You know why? It's because Alan over there, right? So
yeah, but you can see the people talking about pineapple pizza.
I saw.
Well, yeah, the big debate on pineapple. I didn't say I order it. We won't give too much away. You know what? I'll get this out of the way now, Ben, because a lot of people are probably wondering, and I seen Pine Martin posted it almost right off the top of the show, is about how people that don't have Fibe TV1, how they can see it. Will it eventually be on YouTube, or will there be another avenue to watch the show?
Yes, eventually there will be. I mean, obviously, when you produce a show for anybody like we produced it for Bell Fibe TV1, they have the rights to the show for a certain amount of time. Once that has passed, I'm looking at putting it other places. It will end up at some point probably on YouTube, maybe setting up a Patreon where people can do that as well. I don't know. We'll see. But yes, eventually it will be viewable to everyone. Season 1 is actually on YouTube right now. Season 2 isn't yet, and this one will have to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, or find somebody who has Bell as their provider and go have
a watch party. I know that's what I did. So yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So there you go. That's out of the way because we know we're going to get that asked 100 times tonight, right? Of course, you've probably already been asked that about 1,000 times, right? So yeah. Okay, so now before we get into the actual trip itself, what kind of planning went into this? I know, like, you had a lot of logistics to figure out with all the locks and, like, a lot of big lake travel and stuff like that. Plus, you had film crew and the whole 9 yards. What kind of planning went into this, Ben?
It started with the budget, really. We didn't have a big budget, so that really determined how long we would have to do it. Turned out we had 7 days. That's pretty much what was in the budget. We really didn't have any money to go beyond that. So that was the number one limiting factor. From there, we just sat down, we looked at the distance, and divided it out by 7 days and thought, we could probably do most of that. We knew that we would be skipping some of the bigger lakes. Like Rice Lake is just, in bad weather, that's a monster. We're definitely not crossing Lake Simcoe. Not that you couldn't do it. It's just, it takes so much time. And filming wise as a story, it's not that interesting. It's just a slog. That's paddling on open water.
Yeah.
So we knew we were going to skip a couple of the big lakes. So that was in the plans right from the beginning. Then it was just determining how far we could go each day, what would be interesting to see each day, and figuring it out from there. So we did also have a film crew. We had a truck that was driving with a camera person, and they would also act as our vehicle portage to get around the big lakes. So they would go ahead of us to each lock and get shots from the land. We also had a camera person with us in one of the canoes, filming all the stuff along the way. So I got to thank our crew, by the way, John Mokadens, who's and Haley Sontag. I'm sure a lot of people know Haley, and Michael Oliphant were filming it. So they did an amazing job. It's funny, especially poor Michael. We had him in the canoe with us, and not only did he have to go through everything that we went through, he had to film it.
Right.
He had the extra duties.
But I see you did most of the paddling because I've seen him quite often at the front of the canoe like this all the time, right? So, yeah.
Well, he paddled quite a bit too, so that was fine. But yeah, just the logistics of figuring out where we were going to stay. Then you got also, because you're actually filming it, it's one of those weird things. If you're filming just for like YouTube, nobody cares. If you're filming for a TV show, you've got to have permits and permission and insurance and all that stuff. So we had to have a conversation with Parks Canada, get permission to film in the locks, which we did get. They were great. They were fantastic. They helped out enormously. And that gave us permission also to stay at the locks that we were going to camp at. And yeah, we just, and then from there, just planned the trip. And I guess, Sean, we could talk a little bit more about the actual planning and how we may have been slightly more ambitious than we should have been.
Yeah, we took a lot of estimates, travel time estimates from different people's YouTube channels and stuff, saying we've done this, we've done that, and different trip reports, and basically, well, this is what we can paddle in a day. So we had our guesstimate. We figured there would be time at locks, but we didn't figure how long it would take us to actually get through locks. And then, you have to include waiting for boats to go up and down and everything like that. So, yeah, I think we overestimated.
Yeah, because I remember in the show, you guys actually, there was one of the locks. You guys actually waited like an hour or something there because you had to wait for a boat or something to come through.
It was at least half an hour, if not a little longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Did your support team, like when Haley and was it John?
John, yeah.
John, when they went ahead, did they actually try to set things up for you so that you can like sort of slip right into the dock quickly, or did that help?
They would. Well, two things. Either depending on how close the locks were, the lock masters would call ahead to the next lock and let them know who's coming. I guess they do that anyways if there's boats coming. But they would go ahead and they would let the locks know that we're coming. So most of the time, the locks were open waiting for us. Not all the time, but a good portion of the time. And that was really handy. It meant we didn't have to. I mean, they also were able to show them that we had permission to go through. We had the permits and all that, so we didn't have to worry about any of that showing things as we were paddling. We just went in and went along. So it was good.
That's cool. So all in total, how many locks did you guys encounter through this entire journey?
I was counting it.
Well, it's 45 total locks.
But 44. Yeah, but one of the numbers doesn't exist anymore. So
that's why it's
43. Yeah. There's one that goes down towards Lindsay, which makes it 42. And then we missed a few. And I think I counted it. Sean, you did 39. And there's one that I didn't do. So I did 38.
Yeah. So
you did 38 and he did 39.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did he do more than you?
Oh,
I had to one-up him.
Yeah, that wasn't with Alan when you went for a paddle with him, was it?
It was. Yes,
it was?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. So you guys, now right from the get-go when you embarked on this trip, like you guys encountered 4 or 5 locks almost right off the get-go, right? At the beginning of the Trent?
Yeah, they're pretty close together at the beginning. I think we did 7 locks that first day. So yeah, the first 6 were all in a row, all right close together.
Well, and the very first one, you go under a train bridge and then into the doors close, and as we're in there, train goes by, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a cool trip right off from the very first lock. Just to see sort of things like that is just like, that's cool. That's cool.
Also, it's something. So when I had done that little section towards Lake Simcoe before, those aren't huge locks, and we were going down. So I had never actually been up a lock in a canoe, and the first few locks, they were pretty big. And going up in a canoe, going down is easy. You're inside, the water just drains out, and you gently sink down. Going up, the water is rushing in. So, and they can control how fast or how slowly they let it in. They tend to let it in a little bit slower if you're, a canoe. But still, you have to go to a specific side. If they're letting the water in from one side, they don't want it pushing off the wall. They want it to push you against the other wall. And it can get a little rough. It's a little intimidating at first.
I was going to ask, what's it like? Describe the experience while you're in one of these locks. You have all this turbulent water kicking around you and stuff. Is it almost like a whitewater paddling ride or what?
Not quite, but you're holding on to they have the wires that come down. You put a rope around that, hang on to that. But yeah, your boat will sort of drift out of it and then bang against the lock. And you're just trying to keep yourself steady. Honestly, if we could have just floated around in there, we would have probably been fine. But it's just that you're getting moved around and you're not controlling it. That feels kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's pure current in there, right? Going around. So if you're solo in the boat, you're at the back, hanging onto one of the black cables. Then the front of your canoe wants to come out from the wall. So you're always trying to force it back in and whatnot. But I mean, just the different way you're in a box with all this water coming in, the swirling motion and everything, and of every direction just wants to make your canoe go all over the place. But if you're a bigger boat,
you're not going to notice it
as much.
Also, you mentioned that you're in a box. Yeah, you're in this. You've got nowhere to go. You're in a box, and the water's just filling it up. So
if anything, I seen at least they had rescue ladders going up the wall somewhere. So
they did.
Get the heck out of it.
Yeah.
So and they would let you in and out of these locks. Like they didn't have to fill it up first. With other vessels, like no problem, just 2 canoes.
Yeah. They'll let you through. I mean, that's what their job is. So if you show up, if there's other boats coming, you'll wait till they fill it up. But for the most part, if there's no other boats coming, you could be a single canoe. They'll open it up and let you through.
Wow. No portage around the outside type of thing.
Nope.
That's cool. No, you know what? That would be an experience right there to behold. Just trying the lock systems, especially when you hit the big chute. That looked like a real adventure.
Oh, at the end, yeah. That was.
You did it twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went down it and then up it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the lift locks. If you can do the lift locks as well. Yeah. But I mean, we've said since we finished this that anybody, be it stand-up paddle, they do let stand-up paddle boards, kayaks, canoes. If you have the opportunity to try out the lock system, even if it's just one lock, do it. It really is a pretty cool experience. And as you go along, if you're doing the trip, you start to get, this side, okay, and over you go. You got your rope ready, and you're ready to go. And you're just old hat, halfway through the trip. Oh, here we go again.
Yeah, right.
But it's quite the experience to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And then the different locks. I guess one thing I should mention is the time. I mean, if people have seen the show already, they'll see that we didn't take into account. So there were many, many delays that we encountered. So we ended up having to skip a little bit more than we had planned. But probably the biggest thing was we hadn't really taken into account how long it takes to go through the locks. So we're averaging our distance, our paddling distance. Oh yeah, we can do 30, 40 kilometers a day, which we could paddle, no problem. But then you're going through 6 or 7 locks in a day, and they each take 15 to 20 minutes or longer if you're waiting for a boat. And then that adds a huge amount of time to your trip. And you're like, where did the time go? Oh, it's in the locks.
Plus, I mean, we would detour at times to film certain things, So yeah, some of the filming took up our time as well when we were out on the water, So like, let's go over here and check this out, and let's go over here and check this out, and like if you're paddling, and all of a sudden the guy in the front whips out a camera to start filming something, then all of a sudden your speed slows down.
Yeah.
So that adds to it as well.
Right. So we got a question here from Keith Park asking, wouldn't it be faster to portage around some of the locks?
Yeah.
Maybe. It depends though. It depends how much gear you've got. Like if you have to do multiple trips with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the ones where we had to wait like the 40 minutes sort of thing.
Definitely. Yes.
And yeah. You know what? Because there came a point where we were sitting there going like, because what had happened was the lock behind us had phoned ahead and said, there's a boat coming. Well, I guess the people in the boat didn't realize that they had phoned ahead. And let's go check this out over here, and let's go check this over here.
Okay.
Well, they did a little tour while we're all sitting here going, hey, we could have paddled here faster.
Yeah.
And so at that point we're going like, it would have been faster just to portage all the gear,
but less fun.
And not all the locks are paddlecraft friendly.
Yeah, that's true. In terms of getting out,
some of them, I mean, you're way up here trying to get out. The concrete barrier sort of thing. Not all of them had little docks that we could just pull up to and pop out, sort of thing.
Okay, yeah.
So by the time you're trying to haul all that gear up 3 feet, plus your canoe and everything, like doors open and you're ready to go.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
right.
If you watch the show, you'll see us when we're against the walls, like your arm leaning up here, to hold on to the wall.
Well, then you had a hard enough time getting your niece into the boat.
That was on a dock. That dock was pretty high too.
Yeah. Wow, cool. Sue's Outdoor Crew, who I think makes a bit of an appearance in one of your episodes, they're asking, besides going into the locks, what also is a memorable moment of this trip?
Well, I guess
ice cream,
Klondike bar.
Now they say the most memorable moments was having Sue and her family paddle with us to the first lock, and then of course having her deliver some beverages and chocolate on day 2.
Yeah.
No, there was a lot. Oh God, every day had something that was memorable, I think. We could talk a bit more about some of the things too, but like going through the flight locks, that was memorable. The paddle up towards the Kirkfield lift lock, memorable. The Swift Rapids, Big Chute, all like
what
amazing.
Was memorable the majority of the days, the sunrises. Like, just, I mean, if you see the show and whatnot, like just some of the sunrises coming up over the locks, and you get the canal going straight down, and just the sunrise first thing in the morning, the mist, and I think it was only like 2 days where there was clouds and rain and stuff like that. But yeah, just the sunrises and the sunsets, just that's how you're starting your day, and then seeing that sunset, that's how you're ending your day. It's like perfect.
Yeah,
absolutely perfect.
So now your camping opportunities, were you camping right for the most part? Were you camping right at the docks, or not the docks, but at the locks?
Yeah. I saw somebody question, did we camp at all the locks? Not all of them, obviously, because that would have taken 30 something days. But every time we camped, we were at a lock. Yeah. Okay. So if you're in a boat that has sleeping quarters, you dock up against the wall and you could stay, or you can camp there too. I can't remember what they charge. It's not that much you can't camp there if you're not going through the locks. Like, it's not like a campground, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, because you know what? Today I was actually on. It used to be regulated through the Trent Severn Waterway website, but now it's done through Ontario Parks. Is it not?
No, it's all Parks Canada.
Or Parks Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Parks
Canada. Yeah, you would book it, I think, through the waterway when you get your permits to go through. If you're planning,
because the rates were very reasonable. I thought, you're like $5 a night,
something like that. Yeah.
So that's a drop in the bucket, right? So
yeah,
there we go. John Bauer says $5 per night per person, right?
Yep,
that's awesome. So along the way, what type of hurdles did you have to overcome? I know, okay, you had to wait for locks and stuff like that, but what other big hurdles did you guys have to overcome on this trip?
Weather. Not really. We did have some bad weather, but it was more winds. So let's see. Let's look at what the delays were. Day 1. It started on day 1.
Day one was great.
Day 1. Well, day 1 we paddled like 26K. We were supposed to paddle further. The lock we ended up staying at was Glen Ross, lock number 7. We had planned to paddle to Percy Reach, which is lock 8. We got to Glen Ross about 4:30 in the afternoon, so it was later in the afternoon. And the locks, I think, closed at that time in the summer about 6 o'clock. They closed for you going through them.
Yeah.
That's the only delay that I kind of regret. I wish we had pushed to go a little further, because Sean and I went back in the fall just to paddle that section that we missed. It's about another 18 kilometers or something like that. And we did it in reasonable time. We would have arrived like before 9 o'clock and it would have still been light and we could have camped. but we ended up camping there at Glen Ross, so we missed that section. Now this was the problem, and the biggest challenge too was time, because if we were just doing it paddling and not filming a show, it wouldn't have mattered. We could take as much time as we want, but because we were filming it, we were meeting people at certain locks on certain days. We were going to be doing interviews with some of the people from Parks Canada at certain locks on certain days, so we couldn't delay where we were starting. So that first day we were short, and we had to vehicle portage to start at Glen Ross. So we still started it where we had planned to start for the day 2, but we had to drive over there. And then day 2 we got weather. It was really from Healy Falls towards Hastings. We're supposed to end up in Hastings. Haley was monitoring all the weather for us, and we got a call from her saying, there's 2.5 foot swells and headwinds on some of the big lake that you have to go around towards Hastings. And we're like, okay, crap.
Yeah.
And then that happened a couple of other times too. We hit, and not just that too. We got delayed. Or day 3, our goal was Lakefield, and we ended up having to stop one lock earlier because the washrooms were out of service at Lakefield, and then they wouldn't allow us to camp. And then we had to make up time the next day, which we were making great time because we had a tailwind, and then we had this amazing rain that came down on us, and we got
thunder, lightning. That
was awesome. And then, did we have any other delays? I think after that, we were pretty much on schedule. We were also skipping the section from Couchiching to Swift Rapids simply because we had one day left to do that, and there was no way we could do that whole thing. So we knew we were skipping that. So we ended up starting Swift Rapids. Got there late on day 6 and set up camp, and then left early in the morning on our last day. So yeah, most of the delays were just due to. We also had some bad weather. Well, it wasn't bad weather; it was strong winds coming out of Bob Cajun across. Sturgeon Lake, right? Yeah.
Sturgeon Lake, yeah.
Well, yeah. You don't want to be battling the weather. This is for sure.
And the other thing too is we were filming too. So this was our discussion when we were on Sturgeon Lake. Was we could keep going. It's going to take a long time. But also, I was worried about tipping, not getting wet and tipping. The fact that we had all the camera gear in the canoes, we tip. The show is done. So we had to be careful of that too. So
So a question I had too is, now this is, I don't know if it takes away from being like a canoe trip, but I noticed you had all your gear with you. You didn't leave all the gear in the portage truck and send them around. You were actually paddling all your gear too, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I think we had some extra food maybe in the truck, but that was about it, and extra stuff for the camera gear, but. And
we had some extra water because the heat.
Oh, it was hot.
A couple of the heat. I mean, I'll guzzle water while I'm paddling, and I have an Nalgene bottle. A whole day I'll just guzzle that Nalgene bottle down, maybe one refill. The next day, like the second day, is like 2 Nalgene bottles. So we bought some big things of water to keep in the truck. So at a lock, if we met up, we could just top up with water.
Yeah,
and just to keep us hydrated, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I see my internet keeps freezing up here again. They still haven't worked out the issues. Sorry about that. As long as it's not like it was last week. Jeez.
So a couple of things I've noticed here. Questions is when we were going through some of the locks, there were spectators looking down on us, going like, "Well, that's something you don't see every day." Because everybody's used to the big boats coming through, not a couple of canoes. So there were a lot of questions, which was pretty cool. I would definitely go back and do it all again, not necessarily in a kayak. I would do it in a canoe, but you need more time. And as Ben was saying, that was our biggest hurdle, was trying to get it done in a week. And we had to pick and choose, like you say, the big lakes. We could paddle all through Simcoe if you want, but here we are paddling through Simcoe. Hey, we're still paddling through Simcoe.
Yeah.
Hour 4 paddling through Simcoe. or you can just skip around and get, show the good points of the trip. So yeah, we had to pick and choose. But yeah, I would love to, if we had the time, I would love to start and just the whole thing, not skipping any of it. Take the 5 hours or whatever to go through the extra lake and stuff like that.
I mean, Parks Canada we did come across a couple of other paddlers along the way. Not that many, but I know Parks Canada is sort of trying to promote paddling on the waterway more. Yeah. So they will have to, one of the things I think they're aware, they have to improve access for canoes and kayaks at the locks. Some of them have smaller docks along the walls that you can get in and out of, but some of them don't. So they're gonna, if they want more paddlers, they're definitely gonna need to be adding some docks that make it easy for you to get in and out, because it's sometimes not easy at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a couple that I would not want to be getting out of there in a kayak.
Oh God, no.
Because I would be getting out in a kayak.
Yeah. Sorry, I've been thrown off guard here with my shoddy internet connection once again. So Ben, throughout this whole thing, this whole trip, you must have ended up with a ton of footage from multiple camera shots, GoPros, camera crew. How much footage you end up with for this entire series?
There's a lot. I'm trying to think in terms of hours. Oh, I don't even know the hours. Interestingly, we've probably used most of the footage, but not like all of it. So like you might have a shot that's like, a minute and a half long. We're only using like 2 or 3 seconds of it. So surprisingly, we probably used most of the shots in some way in the show. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them. But there was a lot, and that's something I learned a lot about. Is if we were to do it again, the way I would film it differently. I mean, there's a lot we'd still do the same, but there's a lot that I would film differently, because we had multiple cameras, and that one of the biggest challenges with filming it is power, battery power. Especially we're staying at locks, we don't have power to plug in every night, so we had to have plenty of battery power with us and stuff like that. So yeah, how many cameras did we have? We had 2 main cameras, 2 professional cameras shooting, one in the canoe, one on land. We had a GoPro in each canoe, and we each had a diary camera, which we would use as well. So how was that? 6 cameras total.
Say that really fast.
6 cameras total?
No, diary cam.
Diary cam? Diary cam. Diary cam.
Never mind. Bad humor. Okay. I should have left that one to Sean.
I understood it.
Oh my God, we're gonna get about 20 people leaving the stream pretty soon. Question here from Alan here, asking from a paddler's perspective, what other amenities other than better access could be useful at the locks?
Fresh water.
Yeah, you didn't like the water at that one lock, did you?
There was
drinkable, but
yeah, usually when I'm on my backcountry trips, I have my filter, right? So I'm just taking from the lake, and but down here with all the boats and that are going down, you're getting the oil, the gas more concentrated. So the one lock we stayed at, they said, oh yeah, you can drink the water. It goes through a filter and whatnot, so you can drink it. Yeah, a chemical filter. It was like drinking bleach.
Oh gosh.
I took, this is gonna be great. And just, it was horrible. You couldn't, and no amount of juice powder or anything would get rid of that taste. So it's just like, that's fresh sources of fresh drinking water.
Was there a reason why you just weren't using a water filtration system on this trip, or?
Well, because with the locks, with all the boats and everything, like the gas powered boats and everything, and like you can see the film on the top of the water at times.
Yeah.
I just didn't
trust it. When you reach your arm down to your elbow, right? Because nothing gets down there.
No, that's where all the snakes are. Yeah. No, you know what? We just decided, this is leave the filtration at home. We figure there'll be some enough fresh water spot, and if anything else, like I say, we can get the big jugs and find a place to fill them, and that's what we did.
Yeah, we had the truck with extra stuff in it, so it was fine.
Cool. Okay. So how long did it actually take you to put this whole video series together then? The editing portion.
Yeah, well, we delivered the show. I delivered the show end of January, so I had from August to the end of January to edit. Editing time in terms of hours, it was probably, I don't know, between 60 and 100 hours of actual editing time to get it done. Yeah. The hard part is, I mean, you know what you did, but you have all this footage, and now there's so many different ways you can tell the story. In editing, it's just deciding on, okay, I could do it this way, or I could do it this way, and then you've got to just come up with a consistent style. And then once you've chosen that, then it becomes easier. Then you can. So really, the first one is probably the hardest. It's figuring out how you're going to put it together, how you're going to tell the story. Once you've done that, all the others will just flow.
Mm-hmm. One of the big things that I notice is when you're on your trip, you put the blinders on, so to speak, that, you know what, I'm out here. I don't care about anything else. Ooh, look at the scenery, look at the nature. Having to remember, oh, wait, I got to pick up a camera. Yeah, here's what we're doing. That is like, oh, man, because there's times like, I don't think I picked up my camera all morning. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a nightmare for Ben.
Good thing he's editing and not me, right?
Yeah. But I mean, as Ben was talking, I mean, you see the long way round, long way up, long way down shows where they're doing it on motorcycles, and they've got everything mounted on their helmets and on their bikes, so they don't have to worry about it, sort of thing, right? And then, but we're doing the, hey, let's just pick up the camera and do a little spiel when we're in the locks and we're going by something cool or whatever. But you get so into, oh, this is really cool, I'm enjoying this. Oh, look at this, look at that, that you forget that it's not a regular trip. You've actually got to work on this one, right?
That's why it's great having a camera crew.
Sure.
Because Michael's there to film anything that's happening in the boat. Haley's there to film anything that's happening from the land. And hopefully they're catching stuff that we're not. Even then, though, it's very easy for them to get caught up in when we're having a conversation about something and you realize, oh, crap, this would have been a good conversation, even though it's sort of with the crew, because we had a couple of conversations with crew on camera. That would be interesting. And then you've missed it because you can't redo it. But if I was to do it again, I think one of the things I would do is figure out, we'd need a lot of memory and a lot of power, but figure out a way of having the GoPros at least running like the whole time, not shut them on and off at all. So it's going to give a ton of footage, which we're not going to use, but at least you're catching everything that's happening. And then same with our audio. We would have, I think next time, if we do one, we'll have some kind of little lavalier mic sewn into our life jacket or something like that can record all day long, so that we're not missing any good audio either. Because unfortunately, even with a film crew, you do tend to miss some of the cool things that happen.
I gotta mention about the GoPros. Ben's GoPros are voice activated, which was cool when they worked.
Oh boy!
But
GoPro, start recording.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden Ben's is, what's mine doing? Mine wouldn't start. Ben's would, and he goes, stop recording, and mine would stop recording. And and when they didn't work, there was some words coming out of that other canoe.
So you test it and it works, but then you've got it mounted out of your reach and you're paddling and you tell it to turn on and it ignores you. And you go, why? And then, or it'll suddenly do a burst of still photos and go, that's not what I asked you to do.
I think the heat had something to do with that as well.
Yeah.
Because I know my older GoPro, once it starts getting heat, like it starts to heat up in the sun, if I've got it mounted, it just shuts right off completely.
I quit. I'm not working anymore.
I've had enough of this.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, Mustang 774 is asking, how much of the camera shots were pre-planned as opposed to shot on the fly as you went? Did you have a total filming plan for this?
Kind of, yeah. A lot of it is shot as we go along, but we knew that we wanted certain kind of shots at certain places, like especially some of the big locks. We wanted to make sure we got shots that really highlighted how deep they were. Same with looking up from them.
Yeah.
And we were able to get a couple of drone shots in there, not as many as I would have liked, but we had to pick spots specifically where we were allowed to fly the drones. We could have got permission to fly them over the locks, but it would have required a lot more insurance, a lot more money. Yeah. So
for something so safe, right? What the heck?
Yeah, that's the rules.
Yeah, it drops out of the sky, hits someone's $100,000 boat. They complain.
Yeah, but yeah. So for the most part, they were shot as we went along, but we had in mind certain things that we wanted to get at certain places. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So Ellen Drummond asked a question here a moment ago, and I want to add to this question too. Other than birds, did you see any wildlife on the journey? But even more so than that, okay, you could answer Alan's question, of course. But you guys started in a real rural site, like there were factories around you and stuff like that, bridges, train bridges. When did you start transitioning into that spot where, like, the area where it started turning more into nature and less man? You know what I mean?
It would change. So the first day, we started urban because you're right downtown Trenton. There's factories along the way. It was probably after, even before the Lock 6 or so, you're getting into more natural areas. And then towards Lock 7, it's really cottage country, a lot of cottages. And then it would change again too. You get into some more natural areas later on, and then some more cottage country. Through Peterborough, you're in a sort of a more urban setting for part of it. Through the university, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So it was always changing, which was cool. And I don't know if we saw any other wildlife. Did we see anything? It was mostly just birds and stuff.
Birds
a snake. We saw a
snake.
snake.
A snake in the lock, the one lock.
Yeah.
Just a little garter snake.
Yeah, I hope it got out. I really hope it got out because I wasn't.
I'm sure it did. But no, just birds like cormorants, geese, ospreys. A lot of little songbirds and stuff, but there was no moose, no bears, no coyotes, no wolves.
Yeah.
Any cougars?
No, I think they were at the bars.
Lining up for a Klondike bar, right?
Oh, and by the way, if you haven't seen the show, Alan joined us for a day.
Yeah.
He joined us at Bob Cajun for a paddle. And then we also had John Brower join us on our last day. Derek joined us for a day, and Kevin Callan joined us for a day. So it was cool. And then we also had Janice Bosted and Sue joined for part of the paddle in their boats too. So it was nice having people join us.
Take that question off the list here.
That was on the list there.
So I hear you guys had some special guests showing you along the way.
And guess what? We made it to the end.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All done.
Well, you know what? I'm going to post the link in a minute there, and I see we've got a few of the people that joined you on this trip are actually in the chat tonight, and maybe they can muster up enough courage to come up and maybe give their little take on the adventure when they joined you, for the trip. Maybe have a little what do you call that? There, a little a get together, or what do you call that?
Reunion.
Yeah, reunion. That's the word I'm looking for.
Reunion.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah. So sometimes it goes in here, but it doesn't come out there, right? So what we'll do is I'm going to post the link in a minute, but we're going to do the swag giveaway right now.
Oh, cool.
This is the first time I think I'm ever doing it before 8 o'clock, but that's great because that'll give us opportunity to get a few people in to ask some questions and stuff like that. And we'll get into a lot more details about the adventure as well. Tonight, we're going to be giving away a Canoe Hound Adventures prize pack, as I always do. The stickers and the patches. Okay, so we got all this stuff. Plus, we got a couple of goodies from Algonquin Outfitters that I will also throw in there. We got a certificate and some decals. Thanks to one of my regular followers, I'm also going to be giving a Canoe Hound Adventures baseball cap. Not this one here, because this one's already got my greasy hair all over it. So we'll send you a nice fresh one. I believe Ben has something he's going to contribute.
Oh, yeah. We got some cool little stickers that we had made up. Little Get Outside Paddling Adventure sticker there. A different version right there. I'll give you a 2 Men in a Canoe sticker. And the ones that just arrived. I like these ones. These are brand new. I haven't even opened the pack yet.
Born to paddle.
Born to paddle. So
And that'll look really good on one of my water bottles.
Sure it will.
Well, if that's the case, then let me throw some of these to you as well.
Paddling Adventures Radio podcast decals.
Stickers.
We got that. Cool. So what we'll do then, we'll get our question up here on panel or up on screen. Just bear with me for a moment. And what I need you to do is answer the question. You have to send it to me at coasprize@gmail.com by Saturday at 11 p.m. At that time, I'll do a drawing. The winner I will contact, get your mailing address, stuff like that, and then I'll send that off to Ben and Sean, and they could email you their respective prizes, and I'll send out mine as well, and everybody be happy and ducky, right? So tonight's swag giveaway question is, how many locks did Ben and Sean encounter on the Trent Severn waterway? So we know one did one more than the other, so either answer or both numbers will do for the answer. We'll take that into stride. So please do not put it in the chat over there. Please just make sure you email the answer over to coasprize@gmail.com, and you'll have until Saturday at 11 p.m. So you know what? I encourage everybody to, and I'm going to make this announcement now, okay, because I haven't thought of it until about a couple days ago. But at the end of the season, I'm going to be doing one big roundup prize, and everybody who has entered into the swag giveaways will be eligible to win one big swag prize that I will be putting together for the end of the season. So if that's not encouragement enough, I don't know what is. Okay, so it'll be one of those unique draws. So if you've entered 10 different contests, you'll have 10 entries into this thing. So enter often. Well, once per night, but enter often. So how many locks did Ben and Sean encounter at the Trent Severn waterways? And this question is gone. Boink. There we go. I'll leave the email going across the bottom. So with that being said, I'm going to put the link in. If anybody would like to join us on panel and ask questions of the boys here, and that's not the one I want. That's the one I want. Please do jump in and join us on panel here. Let's see. Control V and enter. Don't be shy, people. Okay, so if you guys had to do this trip again, what would you do differently? I know plan more time for it, obviously. We've already touched on that. Anything you would do differently, though?
If we're filming it, there's a lot I would do differently. If we're just doing it again, I would just take the time to enjoy it. It's fun to push some days, but it'd be also nice to have days where you can just relax and go, I feel like we've done enough for today, and let's just stop.
Yeah.
It's awesome though. I loved it, and if anybody wants to try it, I highly suggest you do. It was really, really, really cool.
That's all right.
I would definitely spend more time up near the Swift Rapids locks.
Oh yeah,
that was just a gorgeous. I mean, the lock itself was massive. It was what's the Swift Rapids?
I think it's 47
feet.
It's the largest single drop.
Yeah,
on a regular lock on the system.
Is that where the flight locks were?
No,
no.
That was Healy, Rainey and Healy.
Yeah, the flight locks are impressive as well.
Yeah. Now Healy their flight locks a total of 54 feet. Right. So, from the first to the top of the second, but it was, split between the two. So each one wasn't all that as high. But I mean, if you're talking Rainey Falls, Healy Falls, Peterborough Lift Lock, Kirkfield Lift Lock, Swift Rapids, the Marine Railway, those are like the highlight. Even if you just wanted to take a weekend and just paddle, those are the highlight locks to see. That's for sure, and it's spread out all over the whole system.
If you've never gone through any of them, most people picture just a lock as the regular, you're in, up, and out, right? But like the flight locks were super impressive. A flight lock, if you don't know, it's two locks that are right one after the other. So the really impressive thing is if you're coming from the bottom, when you go into the bottom lock, you're looking at the door at the other end is the height of both of them, because you're looking up the height of both locks. So that is really, really intimidating. You're sitting in this cab. So those were amazing. The lift locks are pretty cool. A Pete over lift lock is obviously the history of it, but that's the one with the biggest lift on the whole system total. And that's just super impressive how that thing works. It actually, it uses less water than a regular lock would, because it's just whatever water's in that. It's actually only about a foot of a water difference, so it's kind of cool. And then, Swift Rapids, and then the Marine Railway. There's only one like it in the world. They have other railways, but you're in a tub of water that takes you over. This, you're out of the water. Like you paddle into this thing. It's on a railway. If you're in a regular boat, they put a sling under you. If you're in a canoe or kayak, you just sit there and it drives up out of the water. The water disappears and you're sitting on the bottom.
Yeah.
Going up and over. And then you go back into the water and you just suddenly start to float. And
the neat thing about that, you could hightail it out of there before everybody else can.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Water. Yeah.
I got to say, going down from the top, it was pretty cool. Hey, Alan. Because you're so used to when you see, because you can see the track and it goes down this really steep hill. And you're so used to like being in a roller coaster where you'd follow that. And you're like, oh my God, but it keeps you level as it goes down. Yeah.
Yeah, just the way the wheel systems are, the tracks. It's really unique. Anybody should check out the Big Chute. Do any research on it. It's a really amazing type of thing. Well, what happened? We lost Alan there.
I don't know.
What'd you do? You kick him out, Sean?
He left.
Did you kick him out, Sean?
Had enough of you.
Hi, Alan. We got
There
you.
he is.
We had you.
Let's see if this works.
It works.
Does this work now?
Yeah.
We hear you loud and clear. Yeah.
I was on my other computer, and I don't know, technology, whatever. Somebody had to screw up this week, Anyway,
got something playing in the background.
I hear something playing in the background. If you have a YouTube going in the background or something, just turn the volume off on YouTube.
All right. I just had too much shit open.
You know what? We actually got a couple people in the basement here. You want to get them all up on panel here? We could talk all about this.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, let's bring up, John Brower. How you doing, John?
Doing okay.
Good.
Come on, John.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing?
Hey, Ben.
Okay, and then we got one other person here I'd like to bring up as well.
Hi, I'm Kevin Callan, the Happy Camper.
Woo! Yes, I'm Apostle number 14. Well, if you visited me instead, you would have been fine. It's one sexy beast, I'm telling you. I called you poopy pants. Sorry about that.
Did you really?
I will hold in my urine for you, Dennis.
You have to remind Kevin that this is a family show.
What about the chipmunks?
Awesome.
Hey, Kevin Callan. How you doing, sir?
Hey!
How are you?
I'm good. It's a true story. It's a true story that when I was getting my spot, the guy from Ontario Park's reservation system was beside me. But I went for a walk tonight down my laneway, and he lives down the road. True story. That's all I got.
Hey, John, do you have your YouTube volume on too?
Nope, it's off.
I'm sorry?
It is muted.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Ben, Sean, each of these gentlemen took some time to paddle with you on the trips. Let's talk about that experience.
Kevin was a hoodlum. Let me tell you about the chipmunks.
It's all about the chipmunks. But I thought I was supposed to be paddling with you. It's me that's echoing, isn't it?
Yeah, is YouTube on there, Kevin?
No. I got nothing on here.
Empty house.
Oh, thanks. I feel lonely as I kind of felt better about myself until you said that. Do you want me to call you back?
Yeah, if you want to drop out, pop back in.
Yeah, because I got nothing else on except you.
Yeah.
Because
jump back in.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Make sure you come back. I want to use that intro.
Blah, blah, blah.
Hey, Dennis, deja vu from last week or what?
What's that?
Alan's echoing too.
I'm echoing. I've got.
Now he's muted.
Now he's muted.
I'm muted. Oh, we're having fun, aren't we?
Okay, so we'll do this in a roundabout type of way. Okay, so Alan, you joined Ben and Sean. What prompted you to get out and do that? Just so you could poke some fun at Sean?
because it was a pandemic and I had nothing else going on, and it sounded like fun. I'd been up there earlier in the summer from Bob Station, paddling to what actually joined John and our other friend Virgil as they were paddling the Trent Severn, and it was kind of my first time paddling up in the area and really liked it. And when Sean said they were doing the Severn, I'm like, well, if you want company, you want a kayak alongside, then holler. So he hollered, and it was a lot of fun. Ended up just being at the front of Sean's canoe rather than doing it alongside on the kayak. But we had a fantastic day. It was a lot of fun.
We couldn't trust Alan not to do some rolls in the lock and get us kiboshed for the rest of the trip. So
yeah, Sean had me scared. Yeah, Sean had me scared. He said, Alan wants to take his kayak in and roll and lock. I think, no, I've got a filming permit. They're not going to like that, and they'll kick us out, and we won't be able to film.
Come on, it's better to ask forgiveness and permission.
That's true.
We don't know him.
Yeah. To Sean and Ben, Camper 69 is a bit of a waterfalls aficionado. How many waterfalls did you encounter on the trip?
I don't remember seeing any.
Just the one beside the Kirkfield lift lock.
Oh, that little teeny
that little
tiny
one
one,
coming
yeah.
off the cliff.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
you know, I mentioned there were rapids and falls. Yeah, Fenelon Falls had falls. The thing is, the path you take takes you into the lock, so you tend not to see those because that's where the dam is. Then it'll be beside the lock. But yeah, I guess there must have been more. I mean, every time there's a lock that's going around rapids or something. So
very good. Very good. Now, how about yourself, John? You joined in towards the end of the trip, right?
Yeah, I was there on the last day.
Okay. And experience?
Oh, I've done the whole system before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. I did 19. I did Severn to Trenton, end to end.
Wow.
That was a solo.
You did it the opposite direction, though.
Yeah, I did it the smart direction, going downhill more than uphill.
Okay.
But you know what? The numbers go backwards then. It wouldn't make sense for a TV show.
That's a countdown.
Wow. Did you not think of that, Ben, to do it the opposite direction? Because you have the height of land crest, right, where you're going to go up and then down.
I think I'm glad we did it starting at Trenton. I think it would have been a bit. I mean, hitting Port Severn is a little bit of a downer at the end because there's a tiny little lock, and there was construction all around it. But I think it would have been as much a letdown coming down after all the amazing things you see up that end. Just getting down to the end of Trenton. I mean, it would still been cool, but it's not as impressive an ending, I don't think. So
saving the best for last.
Yeah, and going up the locks was quite an amazing experience. Those flight locks going up, we wouldn't have experienced that had we gone down them. So
that's true because you'd have only been going down the locks.
And right? It's exactly.
Yeah, never thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you would have gone up Swift Rapids.
Yes, that would have been pretty cool.
Well, now you had the pass, so you could have turned around and gone up or down any of the locks.
Yeah, I suppose we could have. Yeah.
There you go. So, Kevin, I know you paddled portions of the Trent Severn in the past. I've seen videos of you doing different stuff in Muskoka and stuff on the Trent. What prompted you to join these guys? Invite?
Well, I made the mistake by answering the email. Yes. No, I just came back from a trip, and I got an email from Ben, and then I found out Sean was there, and actually the camera crew, I know them really well. They're amazing, actually. So I thought, no, that'd be a cool day, and also it was just a day for me. I lived just down the road, so I showed up, and they were there, and oh man, it was hot though that day.
It was, yeah.
Oh, it was hot. And there was an osprey tried to attack us, and the cormorants pooped on Sean. You're not telling all the stories that should be told.
Well, got to leave something for their imaginations, so they can all watch it on the TV show.
I don't recall seeing a cormorant pooping on Sean's head or anything like that.
No, that was on film. I'll tell that story. I'll tell the story. What really happened was Well, you tell the Osprey story, but I'll tell the aftermath of the Cormorant story. So after the Osprey incident, you went to get some Osprey or some Cormorant shots because you need wildlife. But they were like, yeah, whatever, sitting in the tree looking at you. And you were like, shoot. If we get them to fly, we'll get a good shot. Shoot. And then when you shoot, yeah.
Didn't hit us. Yeah. But you know what? That's the thing with having Mike in the front of the canoe. Then I could get in spots while he was filming, and you're not having to worry about getting a spot, film while your canoe's drifting, sort of thing. So he could concentrate on that. And so let's get some really cool shots of the cormorants in the trees, and we're trying to see if we can get them to fly, sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, splash everywhere.
It was amazing.
Hey, let's just get out of here.
Those birds are very messy. They don't care where they do it, right? They're very messy birds.
If you can imagine being on trip that day with them, you had Mike, the camera guy, he's so calm, cool, collective. He's like, whatever. A truck would run over him. He goes, I'm good. And then Sean's like, squirrel. And then they're putting the canoe together. Oh my God, that's a film. That's a show in itself.
You know, one of the problems we had is we would put Mike in either Sean's canoe or my canoe. And so if you really watch carefully the footage, you only see footage of, on each day, one of the canoes from outside of the canoe, because he was in one of our canoes. So if we do it again, we're having another canoe with a camera person in so that we can just we can film it.
That'd be cool because
we're making switch canoes more often.
Yeah.
And what do I get? The first lock we go through, Sean, I think it was Ben, said, okay, don't grab the rope thing.
Oh, Sean that said that, yeah.
Or a fish hook will go into your finger and you will die. That's the first thing they tell me. I say, what?
Why did they die? I said you lose your arm.
So that's why you guys use the rope around. I was wondering about that. I noticed the first couple you didn't have that, right?
The first lock we went into, they said, make sure you wrap a rope around the cable, the big black cable that comes down, because sometimes they guys fish in there, and then sometimes they catch and snag, break it. So sometimes they find fishing hooks in the cable. So if you're holding on your hand sliding up, and all of a sudden you get your finger with a hook in it, and the other hooks hatched into that black cable, all of a sudden your hand's going down like this. The cable's not ripping. Your hand is.
Ooh.
Right? So that's why, you get the rope on.
Plus they're slimy.
And they're slimy.
Yeah. That's the one thing I thought. They look pretty gross. Or a lot of them had the zebra mussels on them too, right? And those things will slice you open.
Oh, the canoe, the side of the canoe is totally scratched up from those.
Oh, yeah.
So let me get this straight. When the majority of us are in the far north dealing with polar bears, we're dealing with wolf attacks, possible, whatever. You're dealing with zebra mussel cuts, hooks in the hand, ospreys pooping on you, cormorants pooping on you, but you get ice cream delivered to you.
I know. On more than one occasion, too.
The biggest debate we ever had in the entire trip together was pineapple on the pizza. Like,
if you go back and here, Kevin, the first 20 minutes is all talking pineapple on your pizza.
Is it really? I missed all that.
But Kevin, you had pizza, Kevin. John, you had ice cream. Alan had ice cream.
Yep.
Yeah. Isn't that one of the best things to have when you first come out of the bush, though, on a canoe trip or something? One of two things: an ice cold ice cream or ice cold beer. Right,
or even better, cold,
right? Because that's the one thing you lack out in the backcountry is something ice cold.
Well, and that's the one thing I had to say, and I've been saying about this trip is it was such a different trip than I was used to, because I'm used to having to carry everything in the backcountry and then coming all back out. Whereas this was like, if I wanted to grab something, I could zip over and grab something. We're passing a store in Fenelon Falls or Burley Falls or something like that. If you forget something, not a biggie. In the backcountry, you forget something. Ooh, man, So it's definitely a different type of trip. So we stopped for ice cream 3 times.
Yeah, first day. Then we did with Alan and John. Yeah.
and then the Klondike bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good trip. Just ice cream alone.
Sean, I might be wrong with this, but when I finished with you for the day, you drove me back to my vehicle, and I think the liquor stores were closed by then, and you were in a panic. And I said, I live down the road. I have a stash. So, that sounds like a really big wilderness adventure to me, Sean.
We raid. We'll have to go back to Kevin's house and raid his stash.
So that leads us into the next thing. Tell us about behind the scenes. Anything good behind the scenes?
No, you got to tell the Osprey story, Sean. Tell the Osprey story.
Okay, tell us the Osprey story, Sean.
So we're paddling along. This is the day Kevin joined us, and Trent University. It goes right by Trent. So we're all getting a giggle watching somebody learning sculling. So they're being taught is if you fall out, here's how to get back in. And so they give the big jump over, expecting to turn to get onto the boat, and it's right over the other side. So we're laughing at that. And look at that up on the balconies at Trent University. They've got one of those fake birds up there to scare away, owl or Canada geese or whatever. So we're paddling. Yeah, look at that. And then all of a sudden it's just like, it looks at me. That's not fake. It was a really big osprey. So then the thing becomes, well, everybody's got their cameras. Let's get some footage. And it sat there like this.
And it was doing its thing with its head where it moves its head back and forth.
But it wouldn't take off. It wouldn't do nothing. And we're like, oh, come on. And the minute you know that you're going to leave, then it goes, does this big little loopy-loop back up.
Wow. Hey, John, can you just do this? Exactly what it looked like. Exactly. Look at that. Do it again. He was a stunt double. He was a stunt double on the film, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was with us for 2 days, and that was the.
So Ben, how much of an honor was it to be on the bow of the canoe with Kevin at the stern?
It was nice. I could relax a little bit, and I got to tell you, if you paddle with the same person, like I paddle with my buddy Tim a lot, so I'm used to how he moves in the canoe. But when you get somebody new, it doesn't matter how good they are at canoeing, you're not used to their movements. So up front, you can't see what's going on. So you're saying like, "Oh, what's that?" Oh, by the end of the day, I was fine. It was good.
That was funny because I don't know why, but I assumed that you were going to put me with Sean all day and we would get nothing done because like. And so no, I was put in the canoe with you, and I was in the stern. I went, "Oh, I'm just the workhorse today."
Yeah, that's right.
Bring the heat wave. I understand what's going on now. And so yeah, but I wasn't used to your canoe. I'm not sure which one you had, but
the Swift Prospectors. Yeah, Sean was in the same one too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were like, "Oh, Kevin, we're gonna flip over." I went, "I've never flipped over in my time, but if it happens now, Sean's here. That's not going to happen. Sean is not going to see me flip over right now. Okay, that's not going to happen."
You would never, ever, ever live that down. You're the old Adrian going, "Kevin, remember that time?"
Yes, and people should remember that time. In fact, it was the trip just before I met you guys, right? So just a week before, I was paddling across Killarney Park on a solo trip to celebrate my time of my 30-year-old book on Killarney. Killarney had turned 200 years old. I was all excited, and my back went out the second day of this trip across. Third day, I'm in a OSA lake, and I'm taking medication, but I'm thinking I'm done. I got to push the spot device. It was that bad. And but I thought, no, I'll just medicate myself. I'll be okay. And I see a canoe going past me, and I went, well, I could ask them to help me out. And I heard your voice, Sean, like the radio voice, right? And I went, oh, crap, that's Sean from Paddling Adventures Radio. I can't get him to save me because he'll have it on the radio. So you drifted right by me. I dragged myself up even more. And I literally dragged my boat across the last portages in the morning, like at 6 in the morning, just to get home. And then a few days later, what am I doing? I'm with you and Ben. And I was like, that's just weird, man.
Well, the thing is I was taking my wife Tracy. She had just done one of the girls' weekends. She was doing that with Tori Baird, right? So we were thinking, okay, we're going to get her to start using portaging and all that, our gear. And I'm thinking, man, how great would that have been if we helped Kevin get out and I had Tracy portage all Kevin's gear?
No,
that would just been.
No. I would have died there before that happened.
Kevin, if I had known that you flipping a canoe in front of Sean had been a real worry of yours, I would have helped you make me flip Sean when I was at
You guys, you had a more tougher trip than I had with him. We had a heat wave and an osprey and cormorants were pooping on us and pineapple pizza, which I was fine with. But you dealt with more of an adventure, I think, didn't you?
Well, we had, I think, in the most dynamic day as far as paddling goes. Maybe Ben can speak to that, but it was definitely interesting. As I said, when I was on wherever I was on, Sean's show or Ben's show, in a kayak it would have been fine, but in a canoe it's a little out in the middle of the lake, and then in the second week in August, there's a lot of recreational boat traffic out there, and the waves and wakes and afternoon winds and that coming up. So it was definitely dynamic. I wouldn't say I felt in danger or fearful at any point, but definitely had some had to be on our toes.
Yeah, and I think my biggest concern was the camera gear. Like dumping with that, the show is finished. Like we lost the show. So
and the funny thing is when we made the decision to say, you know what, let's, for the sake of the camera gear, the show and all that, you guys take all the gear in your canoe, drive us around. Al and I with an empty canoe are just going to beat it across this last lake and all the way down. And it was the nicest part of the day.
I know. I had made the decision, okay, I'm out. We're going to drive over this. And then you guys arrived like in record time. We had just arrived and hadn't even set anything up yet. And I'm like, oh, I could have made that. Wow. So that was a little annoying.
So Ben, you were surrounded by obviously a bunch of characters throughout this trip, right? Let's talk about some of the behind the scenes things that went on, like that didn't make the cut of the show, obviously.
Let's see.
Likely my language.
Did you realize the GoPro was on the whole time when you were crossing that lake? No. Let's see. There's some stuff that didn't make it. Where we ended up with Kevin. You didn't go for a swim with us, did you, Kevin? We went swimming, I guess, after we had pizza. So
you're skinny dipping, and I don't really go for that, guys. Like, so I just I
he's embarrassed to show off his shaved legs. Remember?
Yeah.
That's right. But no, we went for a swim at where were we? That's Lakefield. Yeah, Lakefield, right? On the riverside at the bottom, and I was wearing just some shorts I had, and I get out, and then you guys were all laughing, and I guess I sat on a rock before I got out, and the entire back of my shorts was covered in this algae. So
it really like algae.
No, exactly.
Algae.
But yeah, the pineapple pizza didn't do well.
That's right. Yeah.
It didn't sit well at all.
Yeah.
So obviously, at certain points, of the evening, when you closed out your day's scenes on videotaping, camaraderie around the fire. Did you have? Somebody was asking, did you have any like campfire chats? Or
we should have. It's a long day, and I was every night. I'm taking the footage that we shot and transferring it to hard drives. So I was in my tent pretty early, not early, like as soon as it got dark, I'm in my tent and I'm starting to do that. So Sean, you stayed up the longest out of everybody most nights. But we should have. We'd had more time and I wasn't worried about all the stuff. It would have been nice to have done that. We didn't really do too much.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a large campfire group of one. Ben went in to start getting everything ready for the next day, film wise and all that. Michael and Haley would, they'd do what they need to do and head in. And John was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there going, okay, well, 11 o'clock at night and I'm sitting here all alone, sort of thing.
So Sean was all party, Ben was all business, right?
Yeah.
So, actually, it was cool. So it was me and Sean who were, and we've done paddling all. We had Haley and Mike, also experienced paddlers and campers, and then my buddy John, who was driving for us. I think the last time he camped would have been like 30 years ago or something like that, and we're making him camp at these locks. So he did good, but
I don't think
it wasn't what he was used to. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm just curious. I'm going to ask something of the chat over there. Let's do a little bit of a survey. How many people in the chat here have actually seen the series? How far is the series in right now on Bell? Are they? Is it all done for the season or?
Yeah, it's kind of like on demand, so it's all on at once. So
okay.
It was on. It went on at the beginning of April, I believe, end of March, beginning of April. So it's been up there for a couple of months.
Yeah. So if you've seen the show,
so beginning of March,
one in the chat. I'm just curious to see how many. Number 2, if you haven't seen it, we'll see what.
It's really well shot. I mean, I was only there for the day with those guys, but I've done a lot of the route. I live right down the road with section they did, but also I did the section from Simcoe down, and it did the whole big thing. That was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I love that part. But it was really well shot, Ben.
Cool.
And having everybody added on was a really good adventure. It's not wilderness whatsoever, right? We all know. Right, but it's a storyline. So yeah, you have an ice cream bar, whatever. Have a pizza with whatever you want on it. It's a given. But I hope everybody sees it. Whether they see it on Bell or they actually see it when it leaves Bell. But you did a good job filming it.
Cool, thanks.
Here's the best answer yet. Don't have a TV. Cut the cord.
Ben,
Yeah.
How did you handle logistics as far as battery power and all that? Because like one of my biggest panic things when I'm out is just like keeping my friggin' phone charged. Never mind 6 cameras and phones and all that.
So I bought those power packs you get, like the 20,000 milliamp hour or whatever they are. 8 of those.
Okay.
Similar to that, yeah. 8 of them, and they have a solar panel on it. I don't think the solar panel did anything, but so we had 8 of them that we were able to use to charge up things like the GoPros. I actually was able to recharge my laptop from one of those, which I was surprised, but it worked. And then we also, any batteries that were dead, we would hand off to Haley and John, and they would plug a USB charger in the truck to charge those as they were driving. So it was a matter of just juggling what we could charge in the truck and then what had to be charged. Like we used
power at any of the locks?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, you could. I guess probably have an outlet out by one of the buildings if we needed it. But and then we had for the GoPros because obviously the battery in those isn't going to last all day. We took one of the power packs in each canoe and sort of zip tied it to the yoke. And then just had a cable going directly from that into the GoPro to keep it on all day as well. So yeah, that was tricky. And if it had been longer, we would have had more logistics to worry about in terms of power.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely a benefit having the truck chasing us.
Yeah.
I
think I would do that if we do another show like that. I would definitely still have a support vehicle.
Yeah.
It makes the filming part of it much easier.
Well, and you know what? Like, I think kudos to Haley. I mean, with being able to get around to the next lock and say, here's who's coming, let's, as much as possible, so that when we showed up, the locks were open and we could just get in there and be on our way sort of thing. And there was a couple times where they were hemming and hawing over a few things. And she just stepped in and said, no, this is what we need to do. And she made it happen.
So the best was Swift Rapid. So we knew So we had paddled. That was end of day 6. We had paddled towards Lake Simcoe, and that was crazy hot too. I mean, the whole trip was hot. And so we were leaving there about, I don't know, 6 o'clock or something, maybe 5, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, dinner time.
And we had to then drive up to Swift Rapids, up this crazy, windy, bumpy road you don't want to ever drive. But by the time we would get there, the staff would be gone, and we had to park at there's a gate before the dam, and we had to park on this side of the dam, but we had to get through the gate. So they have a key, but the staff wouldn't be there when we got there. So Haley was able to convince I guess it's the same key that works on all their gates. So Haley was able to get the people from Lock. What number Lock is it? The Lock of that Gamebridge. To give us their key to take up there, because they were going to go, well, I don't know if we can. Haley just basically told them, no, you're giving me the key because we need it. And it was great. So we were able to get through the gate up at Swift Rapids, and then just drop the key off with them so they could return.
So what you're saying is Haley was pretty instrumental in like logistics on land and stuff.
Yeah.
She should be on the panel too. Is she watching?
She's in the chat. She is. Wants to join in. We got room for her.
Yeah, and she was great at keeping track of us. So she would call and give us weather updates and stuff like that. She was tracking us because Michael had his phone with him. So through the Apple phone, you can track, somebody. So she always knows where Michael is, I guess. So he was obviously in one of the canoes, so she would always know where we were. And she called us when we were crossing Sturgeon, because she noticed that we weren't barely moving. It's like, what's happening?
Did you have a tracking device on you where they can actually track?
Well, Michael's phone.
Phone.
Okay.
So through the messenger, she was able to have it. So when his phone was on, she could figure out where we were.
Right. Gotcha.
So you want to behind a little bit of behind the scenes things. We kept threatening Michael to tell Haley that he had already eaten his lunch by like 10 in the morning. She was getting a bit annoyed at one point. It's for lunchtime. Yeah, but I'm hungry. It's like, Mike, can you do this? Otherwise, I'm telling Haley you've already eaten your lunch. Gosh. Only 10 o'clock. No, I'm going to get that done for you.
Here, I'm going to post a question up here for you, Ben and Sean. And this is like totally legit here, and this is cool. How hard was it to actually canoe past all those people enjoying a beer on the patio or on their docks during these hot days?
You know what? I mean, this was August. It was having something cold to drink, but we weren't really in the group mode because it was COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
so we were still pretty new at COVID here, and it was the whole you guys sort of stay away sort of thing, and you look at the groups of people and you're just like, oh yeah, but you know what? It's a group. Let's stay away.
Yeah, I mean, we had masks with us, so that anytime we did get ice cream, we had to put on our masks to go in and buy it.
Yeah. Yet I found it funny that the one gentleman there at the one lock that gave you guys your pins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No mask on or nothing at that time, true. Right? It's like, yeah.
But he was outside. We're outside. Outside is generally safer. So
because that all this recording was like in the beginning of the summer, was it not?
Mm-hmm.
Like
no, we shot this in August.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Last August? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we were 5 months into it at that point?
Yeah.
But the summer wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So all total, Mustang 774 is asking, how many crew were with you total? So you had three crew, one on the canoe and then 2 in the truck, right?
Yeah. Kept it small. I mean, part of that was budgetary, but also you're nimble when you're the small crew.
Yeah. I mean, more budget. It would have been cool to have like a pontoon boat or something as well.
Yeah, if we do it again, we're getting the boat.
Sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you could set up a tripod or something or do some filming from the pontoon boat, and they could adjust their speed to whatever we were doing. But, you know.
Just don't let Alan drive.
Oh, Sean, what would you like for the next shoot? Well, I would like a pontoon boat. Yes, director's chair as well every evening. Put it aside for me. And a makeup trailer. I need a trailer to put the makeup on my face. And trim my beard. That's what I need. Or I won't do it again, Ben. I won't
You gotta have a toilet on there too, right?
Like this.
Oil and the dye for the beard.
Yes, I need my own beard stylist too, please.
What you guys don't know is that's glued on his face every morning. He has a makeup artist meticulously
glues it on.
Wow. So
I think
2 hours in the makeup chair.
the best scene, Sean, that I love watching is when your underwear got wet.
Yeah.
Tell that
rainstorm. Yeah, I'm gonna need new underwear. Rain's gone right through mine.
That was awesome. It's not fun getting stuck in a rainstorm, but that was really, we saw these dark clouds coming, and then all of a sudden it was like an instant change in the direction of the wind.
Yeah.
It was going one way, then suddenly it just turned completely around, and we're like, that doesn't feel good. So, that was about the only spot in that whole part where we'd be able to pull over. Well, we could have gone to somebody's dock, I guess, but it was all cottages. And that was one spot where there wasn't anything, and we were able to pull ashore. And then that actually, to give you a behind-the-scenes filming, that part was shot with my cell phone because we had packed all the camera gear away to keep it dry.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, the cell phones are pretty good.
when you start getting up into that section of the Trent Severn, you start seeing all these massive cottages. And there's dollar signs for those. But yeah, it's like one after another. So if we needed to stop for like a pee break or something,
oh, it's tough.
You're I know I'm standing on your dock, buddy. There's nowhere, absolutely nowhere to pull over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Problems that we didn't know about, eh? That's why you carry a sponge in your canoe, right? You let it go on the floor and you sponge it up. And
No,
your bail bucket. Yes, Evan,
Alan, a different color analogy.
So, Ben, you had your canoe. I noticed it's not your regular canoe. You have a red.
It was. I have that. That's my first canoe. Is that one? It's a Swift Prospector, and then later on, I got the red Cruiser.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you picked up a new canoe for the ride, but I guess it's the other way around.
It's the other way around.
Yeah.
Now I need I don't need a new canoe. I mean, you can't have too many canoes, so I could always use a new canoe. You should see the sides of it from the locks, especially the zebra mussels. It's like somebody took sandpaper to it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
When I got in the canoe with Ben, the first few minutes, he started double blading, and I hit him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Kevin looking at you with a bent pearl, eh? Hey, what's that?
We get into the lock, and of course they say, "Oh, these ones you can go to either side because there's the two canoes." And of course, Kevin and I are yelling at each other across the locks.
So the one thing I noticed too, right, was there was because the cameraman spent a lot of time in your canoe there, Ben.
Yeah.
A lot of great shots of Sean just paddling along so majestically, right? So smooth. You actually look pretty good in the canoe there, Sean, I have to admit. There you go. Cover photo for the channel, right? Now, what did you have for sponsorship for did you have any sponsorship, or where did support come for putting this together?
Bell Fibe obviously licensed the show, so that's where the majority of it came from. But Eureka Canada was kind enough to supply us some of the camping gear. So some of the tents, some of the that we had some chairs to sit in.
Barrels.
The barrel and stuff like that. So they were great as well. Jim at Eureka is great. Basically, I mean, I've been trying to find different sponsors for even like season 2, and it's tricky. You try some of the bigger ones like Mech and Sail, and you just don't hear anything from them. And it's like, come on, tell me. I had to bug them to tell me no, because tell me yes or no. Like, tell me something, but not just don't answer. And then happened to, I figured, what about Eureka? So I sent an email to that, and Jim says, yeah, what do you need? I'm like, really? Like that easy? So
one of everything.
Yeah, give me one.
And Jim's no longer with Eureka, is that right, Kevin?
Oh, I don't know. Is he?
He's retired.
He's retired now. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I probably won't be able to get them to sponsor. It won't be as easy now.
So what about future? You have any plans for the future as far as
So
get outside?
We had planned on. We actually pitched the show to Crave, a bigger show. This would have been like hour-long episodes. And actually, Sean, I hadn't told you this, but I just got an email today from them saying, yeah, not at this time. We're not really, it's not the direction we want to go, whatever, which is good. They actually said no versus just leaving you hanging.
Yeah.
So but I did pitch it again as a different one over 10 days going from Kingston up to Ottawa along the Rideau system, which I'd still like to do. Bell said no. Technically, we're out of the area that we're supposed to be filming.
Right.
So they said no to that. But I'm still trying to, if we can we can do it. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's also not a lot of money for a TV show. But we could film that over 10 days if I can raise somehow $50,000 to do it.
Write the man a check.
Yeah.
There you go, Alan. You break out the checkbook.
So we're looking for sponsors / financiers for it. Yeah, if I can somehow raise that, then we'll shoot something again. If not, we'll do something next summer maybe. But the advantage if we do it separately is we can do whatever we want with it. Like make it as like an hour-long documentary or hour and a half long documentary, and then take it to festivals and put it on YouTube, whatever. But it's funny because that's, like I said, it's not a lot of money to produce a show, but it's a lot of money to suddenly find. So yeah. So right now there's nothing happening. I'm hoping we can get something happening.
Now, just out of curiosity, a lot of people might say like $50,000 to do a show like this. Where does that, like, I know, okay, you have to fund the trip and everything, but where does that money go to? Like how does that
you're paying camera crew, however big your crew is. You're paying your talent. You're like Sean, yeah. You have equipment that you need. You need
permits.
The permits, the filming permits, surprisingly are pretty expensive. I think if Parks Canada helped out with this last one, so we didn't have to pay the full permit fee. But if they wanted to charge us the full filming permit, it's like $450 a day. So times 10 days, you're like,
because they require permits to actually be able to film on.
Yes, that's the filming permit, not counting the lock fees and camping fees. So and if you're over 10 days, you're paying a crew of maybe 3 or 4 people for over 10 days, and then that really doesn't leave much for editing. You've got peanuts left to edit it. So
ice cream.
And you at least $10,000 goes in ice cream. Yeah.
and Sean's makeup.
Yeah, that's right.
Beard oil.
You get the pineapple pizza.
Oh, that pineapple pizza.
We can't afford pineapple with only $50,000. Sorry.
So it's just the ham, not the ham pineapple.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, so you know what? We'll have to find a way to raise some funds for you so you can get the season 4.
Yeah, because ideally, what we'd like to do is from Kingston up through the Rideau system over 10 days, because that's $220K. We could probably do that, no problem, without much in the way of, we wouldn't probably have to skip anything, and end in Ottawa, which would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, you're going through the locks, so we need the permits to film. We need, yeah.
Well, you know what? If you did something like that, I would probably almost offer to follow you in my not pontoon boat. But the problem is, I want to be out there paddling with you rather than behind the steering wheel. So, yeah.
Come join us for a day.
Yeah, I'd have to do the same thing as these guys did down here. Yeah.
Sure. No, don't do it, Dennis. It's hell. Hell, the trap. Oh my Lord,
Kevin, how do you think they felt?
Paddle now, Kevin.
So, if anybody out there wanted to do this trip, would you have any words of advice for them? As far as planning is concerned,
just give yourself the time.
Yeah,
and do it. Like, cause it's even if like Sean said, and I said, we're used to backcountry paddling, and that's amazing. Like, I would not stop doing that for anything, but it was totally different, and it was really cool. It was, especially the fact that we were doing a journey. Like, every day you had a destination that you were going to. I kind of like backcountry, when you're doing a loop or something like that, you're going from one to the next, and it was just really cool. At the end of the day, you're set up camp, you go to sleep, you get up the next day, and you've got to get going. And it was just really, really neat.
Yeah.
And there's enough towns you go through to, and that was one of the other things I should mention is don't ignore the towns you're going through. Like Campbellford, you're going right through the middle of town, and I know the street that if we would have been able to get out and walk straight down the street, the chocolate, world's finest chocolate is there. But we were making a beeline for the other lock, so there was no.
After Swift Rapids, there's that. What was the name? Do you remember the name of it? The restaurant that's the boat.
No, I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but it's only accessible by boat.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
we would have stopped there, but they were closed. They weren't open.
Yeah, they were closed.
It was too early in the day.
Yeah, beer before 9. Why not?
I love the moment where Sean, you want to do the Bob Cajun song. Kind of joke, and because he's the producer, is like, cut it.
That's right, yeah. We haven't cleared the rights on that song.
But we got around that though.
Well, we did a little bit. Okay, see, I am not. I mean, I appreciate the cultural significance of the Tragically Hip.
Careful.
But I am not a big Tragically Hip listener. So he's saying, well, let me say these lines. I'm going, I don't know them. I'm sorry.
I don't know them.
I know, Kevin. I know.
I just.
You know what I get the most comments on is after we do that and we're all looking up and I'm going, ooh.
Kevin's in shock.
Kevin's in shock.
Well, Kevin, just so you know, on Canada Day last year, after we went up and visited John and Virgil, when we came back up through the Bob Cajun lock, we did play Bob Cajun from my phone in the lock.
Nice.
July 1st. So, yeah. And apparently many people do that. The lock mistress told us. So,
yeah. Hey, John, question for you. So you did the Trent Severn in the opposite direction. How long did it take you from end to end?
I did it in 9 days in my kayak.
9 days? And did you paddle all the big lakes as well, or?
I paddled the whole thing.
The whole thing, eh? Cool.
Show off.
No, madman.
So how long were your days doing that?
Averaged about 7-8 hours a day paddling.
Yeah.
Plus the locks.
Yeah.
And see, the one thing that sort of hampered us as well was we wanted to get through each lock. So if we wanted to start at 6 a.m, we couldn't because we had to wait till 9 till the lock opened so we could go through.
Yeah.
Right. And then we had to be done at 5, 6 o'clock, depending on which day it was. So we couldn't paddle those extra few days if we wanted to get through a couple extra locks. So if your goal is to hit every single lock, you definitely need that extra time.
And go in the summer.
Go in the summer.
And also, John, just to note that Sean had to stop for ice cream.
Yeah.
He had to stop for pizza. He had to stop for multiple pee breaks. This filming thing got out of hand because people were getting, like, where's my trailer? So
I know. I paddled with him. I know what he's like.
So cheers to John.
Sean, all you needed was a catheter hanging over the side of the canoe. You know that.
No, I just stand up on the seat. In Italy, you see those little statues?
Yeah. Isn't the water usually coming out the yap, though? Or?
Whatever. It's the Canadian twist. What are you saying, Kevin?
Well, you know what, guys? I honestly got to say, I really enjoyed the series, and I hope season 4 will come about for you, Ben. Hopefully, we can get that all taken care of and get that on the air for you. That'd be awesome. But in the meantime, you got an excellent YouTube channel, Two Men and a Canoe. What do you have planned for this summer? You have any big trips planned? If we get the, if the news comes off our neck.
Yeah. I have 2 planned for May, which probably won't happen. Although we have not received cancellation from Ontario Parks yet. And my buddy Tim called them to ask, because he has one booked on the 19th, and I was going to go the 20th. And he's like, what's going to happen? They go, oh, as far as we know, we're only closed until the 6th. So fingers crossed. Maybe they're only going to stay close to the 6th, and we're okay. Who knows? And then after that, if I can book a site, then I'll probably be doing a bunch. I hadn't planned anything through July because we were hoping to get a show going through July. We were shooting. So, yeah, there's going to be stuff. I want to do as much as I can, just like I normally can. And we'll probably do some Crown Land as well because we won't be able to get we'll be fighting the people that want to do in Crown Land too.
I was going to say a vast majority of your paddling, though, you do a lot in Algonquin, right? You don't do much on Crown Land?
No, I haven't. I did some winter Crown Land. That's it. Yeah, there's definitely. I do want to do some more. I mean, the thing about the park is I know it, so it makes it easy to just go. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to go for this many days. So
sure, cool. And how about you, Sean? What do you got planned? I know in between home life, paddling adventures radio, and then trying to get out. What have you got planned for this summer?
There's a trip I'm supposed to be doing in June, but I'm waiting to hear back from somebody just to double check on dates. I'm trying to get down to Niagara St. Catharines and do a day paddle or two with somebody. Yeah. We got something booked in South East Algonquin in August, and probably a couple of weeks or so up in Temagami in September. Mm-hmm. So other than that, a whole bunch of little day trips and stuff like that, or weekends and whatever I can scoop out of the deal. You know what? We're still planning like it's a regular workday sort of thing, and just take any cancellations as it comes. Because what else are you going to do? Mm. Like make your plans. If it all pans out, awesome. You're not one of the people trying to fight at the last minute for a last minute spot. If it gets canceled, hey, you end up with money back in your pocket.
Right. So let me ask you this, Sean, too, before we move on to Alan here. You got with Paddling Adventures Radio. How do you swing that with trying to have a show? Because you've never missed a week, have you?
We missed 1 week. We had some things going on here that I had to cancel 1 week. Right. But we actually made up for it with a
double episode.
With a coffee thing at the Quiet Adventure Symposium last year.
Yeah, the sampler show.
So we've actually...
That's how you're justifying that now? The makeup for it happened 6 months before the missed episode. Don't try to spin that, excuse my French, bullshit with that. You missed 1 week. Own it.
Right. But how do you swing that when you're on going on a canoe trip? Do you pre-record?
Yeah, a lot of times we'll because we got Derek and myself. He'll all of a sudden say, "Oh, by the way, I'm away the first 2 weeks of whatever," and it's okay. Well, then we'll just have to make sure we book ahead, or I guess someone like Alan to come in, or to be a guest host sort of thing, and that way we swindle things around. I myself have never missed an episode because I'm the one that does basically what you're doing here. It's like Dennis has never missed an episode.
Well, so unless you count last week. I missed my own show last week. That was crazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like the old days when Johnny Carson would have somebody sit in for him.
Yeah, thanks again to Camper Christina and Brian J for co-hosting the show for the entire evening.
Yeah, we just work around things as best we can.
Yeah, cool. Alan, what do you got going on? Tell us a little bit about Kingdom Outdoor products and what do you got going on for the summer?
Kingdom Outdoor, I've been doing that for about 7 years now. We sell the little kayak and canoe keychains and whatnot. We sell the Great Lakes wall art, kayak racks, canoe racks, some lights, compasses, all sorts of neat stuff. That's got a discount code of snow, by the way, for the next like 18 hours because we're supposed to get snow tonight. 20% off. So, pick it up while you can, kingdomoutdoor.ca. I've also got, and I know Kevin's like the published author on this panel right now, but I've got a article published in the latest paddling magazine. So make sure you pick that up about kayak care and kayak storage and that kind of thing. So I haven't even received a copy yet. Everybody keeps sending me pictures of the article, and I'm like, I haven't even seen it yet. So, but as far as paddling this year, I got a couple of courses coming up at the end of May. Hopefully, fingers crossed. One on the Thousand Islands, one out in Durham with John. Got a site booked in Killarney with some friends at the end of somewhere in June. Philip Edward Island in July for July long weekend, but don't have anything planned yet beyond that. So we'll see what happens.
It's amazing to hear everybody's got all these plans and bookings. I've got nothing planned or booked yet. Everything's fly off the cuff. I
don't have anything booked yet. Other people have it booked, and I'm just tagging along. So.
Oh, okay. That's even better. I like when other people plan right? Just the hitchhiker, right? Alan, I just wanted to thank you too while I have you here for all the information you shared with me about that the show on the park fees and all that the information you shared was very educational to me, and I got a lot out of it. So
it was, I don't spend a lot of time in the parks, but we've been dealing with the shitload of rhetoric and bullshit the last 13 months, and when the park thing came up, and it really inflamed a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of reasons for it to inflame a lot of people. There's a lot of reasons for it not to inflame a lot of people. And I was just trying to find some sort of balance and find some info out there that gave kind of the other side of the coin that, and people start throwing math at you and all that. But I'm like, well, I've got a friend that 4 kids for 20 years and they've been paying, backcountry rates on all that. And, so there is 2 sides of the coin, and who knows what'll happen when it all comes out in the wash. But I'm glad it's calmed down for now. I'm glad Kevin's been a fantastic advocate for everybody when it comes to that and trying to get to the bottom of the story, even though there's some silence coming from the other end of the story. But we'll see.
Well, like I say, I just hope that it hasn't fallen upon deaf ears. And we tried to do the best we could with that show to try and, like you say, give both sides of the story. Yeah. It's too bad we didn't have a representative from that side. As we all know, it's probably very difficult to get anybody, right, Kevin? And
Brad did a great job of kind of just putting into context what a ministry pilot project looks like, what it does, where does the money go? Why would they do this? Why wouldn't they do this? What kind of things are they looking to achieve from doing this? Just a lot of things where people just look at the math and that dollar sign, how much coming out of their pocket, but the bigger picture also needs to be taken into account sometimes too, rather than just my pocket.
Yeah. You know what? I will say, and if anybody from Ontario Parks is ever listening to this, I am very disappointed that I did not at least even get the cookie cutter reply email.
Oh, I did on Twitter.
I didn't receive a damn thing from Ontario Parks, and you know what? It makes me all that much more furious about the entire thing. But anyways, this is a show on that. So, John, what do you got planned for the summer?
Oh, I've got the course I'll be doing with Alan, where he's going to try to beat me into being a less bad paddler. Assuming it actually goes through. And I've got a week booked up in Lake Superior Provincial Park in July with the family. And then I'm going to probably do the Trent again or the Rideau this summer, depending on what other week vacation I can get off.
Yep. So you plan on paddling on Lake Superior?
No.
No?
Not with the wife and daughter.
Oh, okay. Well, then you and Sean will have something in common then.
Shut up, Alan. Shut up.
I didn't say I won't. I said I won't with them.
Right. Okay.
Can you boot Alan?
Just mute him. I'm back.
There you go. I wouldn't kick you like that, Al. Oh wait, let's reshuffle here. There we go. Okay. And then last but not least, Kevin, what do you have planned for the summer, sir? I know Christine is planning a better trip than you. I seen that on Facebook today.
Oh, I did, and that's a share, by the way. So when you share things on Facebook, that means that happened a couple years ago. So I got messages today saying, "What are you guys doing, breaking the whole separation thing?" We're not. I won't see you for 6 weeks, so don't bring that up, okay? So when I share a memory on Facebook, it's a memory. Don't send me a personal message saying you should not be traveling, because I'm not. I'm stuck here with a freaking dog. Okay, I'm calm. I'm all right.
And whiskey.
Oh, so that was. Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice that was an old share. That was a memory.
Oh, for the love of God, Dennis.
That was an old memory. Okay.
Yes, because I can't see her because of freaking COVID.
Yeah. You know what? I posted a little YouTube short that I shot on the weekend. And somebody was ball busting me because I was out camping during this. I was on private property. I was at my own day camp, right? Yeah. It's like, yeah, whatever, okay.
It's a tough time. It really is. I mean, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do because that's me. I was brought up that way, and I've been doing so many interviews. Like, you cannot imagine how many media interviews I've been given, but my dad taught me to do everything proper. You can do whatever you want. If I was living up in northern Ontario and I was 5 minutes away from land, and then the government was telling me not to go overnight, I get it. But also, there's no way some British North boy is going to go up to Timmins to go for his scout trip during a stay-at-home order. I'm not doing that, right? So I was pretty open with that. I learned a lot about meeting the government guy sitting beside me at the COVID shot. I really did. Like, I mean, if you don't know about it, my luck is I literally did over 20 to 30 interviews about what's going on with the whole reservation system, right? Mm-hmm. And I try to show both sides. But the media, not all the time, but a lot of the times they cut a lot of the stuff I said that had positive things about Ontario Parks. Because I don't hate Ontario Parks. Most of my students work in Ontario Parks, right? And I know all the superintendents across Ontario. It's just that the system was all like, what the hell is going on? So they weren't answering because it's government. Someone said something stupid on TV or radio one day, and the minister said, no more interviews. That's probably what happened. I'm guessing that. And then, so all of a sudden, Kevin's got all the media stuff. That's how I get on CBC so much. That's why CTV, global, national news. It's because, well, Ontario Parks is not answering us. Kevin, could you do something? Yes. And I'm doing it like Ben, like you work in the system. I'm not getting anything from that. I'm not getting anything from that except, yes, I will do that because I think that's beneficial to talk about it. But the moment where I get my shot, and you might know me, whatever, but I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting a shot. I might faint. Oh God, I'm getting my COVID shot. I might faint. So what happened? Simon goes, "Are you Kevin Callan?" I went, "Yes." Oh, and then I thought it was just a fan of mine, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm the manager of Ontario Parks Reservation System." I went, "Are you?" And there was like 100 people lined up on this lineup, and he's right beside me. I was like, "That's funny as shit." So him and I had a really good conversation that I really can't talk about because a lot of people say, well, what did he say? Well, he works for the government. I'm not going to talk about what he said because that would be against his job, right? I know that. I'm not going to ruin his career by saying, well, this is what he said. But we had a really good conversation for a long time because it was really long. But literally today, I went to take the dog for a walk, and he lives down the road from me. So we had another conversation. It's like, this is weird. This is just weird, right? What am I doing? Sorry, I'm going off a tangent.
God, Kevin.
I know. There. What I'm doing, one thing, Sean and I have had this idea for over a year now, and we've got to make it happen somehow, but COVID gets in the way, whatever. And I don't know, if Sean, if you want to talk about this, but it's just an idea that you created, and I think it's a really good idea. You know, Sean's a little more off the head than I am. And so one night he just sends me a message. Kevin, this idea. How about we paddle every single Great Lake in one day?
It's doable.
I know it's doable because you're insane, man.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, actually, I think it's a
you know what? I get these crazy ideas and I send them out to people, and not a single person who has ever taken me up on these ideas has ever come back going, you'll have a blast. But yeah, all Great Lakes in one day. Ontario to Erie to here. The only one we can't do is Michigan, right?
Yeah, but we had that solved.
But we're not going to say how we got it solved.
Yeah, no, because we're going to get a random stranger or maybe some American we know, which we know some American paddlers, and they're going to do that lake for us as a favor because we're neighbors. That's what we should do. And we'll do this whole thing in one day. And then, so I did the whole itinerary. I think we'll do this. And then but we can do this. And by probably just before midnight, we'll be on Superior. That will work. And then you said, well, wait a minute, Georgian Bay and Lake Huron is the same thing. So why are we going across the Tobermory Bridge, or a ferry? Why don't we just, brilliant.
Oh, I did like 4 different routes, sent it to you, go pick one. And we
want to be part of that.
We can paddle on 4 of the 5. It would actually be shorter if we could cut up through the states and we could get all 5. But,
yeah. And the one song from the what's the song I sent you? Some young guys.
Great Lakes.
Who was it?
Yeah, Great Lakes.
Great Lakes. I forget the band though. He was the son of a famous musician from Hamilton. Anyway, it was all about traveling the Great Lakes. And I even contacted the band, the producer, the publishing company to get the rights for that song. And it was perfect. And they're like, yeah, this is great. And then they're like, yeah, I don't think you can do the trip. So too bad. Damn it all.
Ye of little faith.
Yes. But the thing is, could you imagine Sean and I in the same vehicle for 24 hours paddling all Great Lakes except one that we have to yell across from an American friend to do? That would be a show, Ben.
Yeah.
I'll film it on an airplane to get you to all 5, right? It just cost you a few bucks.
Dennis, don't whip out now. Come on. We're going to... Yeah.
Harlan Pepper.
Yes!
That was it.
Yes, Harlan Pepper. And they were all excited about it, but they don't own the song. Even though they're not a band anymore. Yeah. Okay, that's going nowhere. Sorry. What am I doing this summer?
I'm doing it.
Can I just make a quick note?
Sure.
I'm not the only one who swore on the show tonight.
Oh, shit. You ruined it.
What was it? What?
You said shit, Kevin.
Oh, we're not supposed to say shit?
No.
Not on live TV.
Okay. Number 2.
We're losing viewers like crazy now.
The family show, Kevin. It's a family show.
Yeah.
Word pops.
Yeah, even Hap Wilson said that. Sometimes we have to remind Kevin that this is a family show.
You should see Alan on the podcast. We have to write it on a piece of paper and staple it to his laptop. No swearing.
You mean you're not stapling it to his glasses yet?
We've lost both the audience at this point anyway because I just went crap. So what am I doing? I'm doing a bunch of trips, I hope. I'm actually going to southwestern Ontario to do some work running and traveling, but Andy and I are going to the far north. And it's one of those, Kevin, you're going packing and you don't know where you're going. Too bad for you. I'm picking you up. So we're doing that. And it's I'm pretty sure we're going north of Lake Nipigon. He wants to do the Sutton River, but I have no money to do the Sutton River. I don't know how he get. I mean, I've always wanted to do the Sutton River and fish for brook trout there before I die, and I think he thinks I'm going to die soon, so he's trying to make that work.
That's good stuff. Anyways, gents, you know what? It's that time. We got to close up the show. We
I got
this in the green room.
Dennis, we can't stop now. We just got to keep All right.
I gotta go pee, Kevin. You know what, guys? Great show. Ben, Sean, thanks very much for joining tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
For anybody that's still in the chat there, by all means, check out Ben's channel, Two Men in a Canoe. By all means, check out the show if you have the opportunity. Oh my God. I just had the biggest brain fart ever, right? Name of the show, Ben?
It's written on our shirt.
Paddling Adventure. I told you, I got to go pee really bad, man. Coffee and 2 beers.
What kind of shit show is this?
I know. Oh, there we go. There goes my monetization. No, by all means, check it out. If you don't have the opportunity to see it on Bell Fibe TV, find a friend that has it. Sit down and watch it. Great way to share beers with somebody with a mask on, socially distanced. Right? We got to be politically correct. And by all means, also check out Paddling Adventures Radio on any of your podcast streams, or what do you call it there, Sean?
Yeah, on any podcast downloading sites, we're on all of them. We're even on iHeartRadio now.
Okay, I listen on Spotify, so
yeah. And if you go to paddlingadventuresradio.com, we have a big button there that takes you to our brand new online store.
Ooh, you got
Get
swag
your fire gear.
Cool.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
a lot of it.
So, Alan, John, Kevin, thanks very much for joining in as well. You really added some quote to this show and a little bit of laughter, that's for sure.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's good stuff. And everybody in the chat, thanks very much for joining in tonight. We will see you guys and gals all next Tuesday. If you enjoyed what you've seen tonight, please do hit the thumbs up. It really helps the show grow on YouTube, gets us noticed a little more, and helps YouTube share out this story a bit more. So it's something that we really rely on, are those thumbs up. If you didn't like the show, hit the thumbs down 2 times. Okay, that's always acceptable as well. You like that one, yeah? I guess that's it. So we will see you all next Tuesday evening. And remember, everybody, please do keep the adventures alive. Have yourselves a great week, and see you next Tuesday.